Good afternoon, everyone. This is David Stearns from Haley Marketing, and welcome to today's Lunch with Haley webinar. Today's topic is one that I'm sure is near and dear to everyone's heart on the call today, recruiting. And this webinar actually came out of attendance at this year's Staffing World Conference. And as I was wandering Staffing World and talking to our clients and talking to other staffing firm executives and manning the booth at Staffing World on the Expo Hall, everybody I talked to had the same challenge. I can't find enough people. I remember talking to one of our clients in Minneapolis who said, David, we have 1,000 open job orders to fill and nothing we're doing is seeming to be effective. So I got back home from Staffing World, sat down with our team and said, we have to try to find ways to help our clients solve this problem. And like the first thing you think about when you think about recruiting is, how do I get more people to my job posts? How do I use the job boards more effectively? Maybe I should try some pay-per-click advertising, but what's really going to move the needle when it comes to attracting candidates, getting more people referred to us, and getting those job orders filled? And as we brainstormed ideas, we sort of had an aha moment. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is that aha moment. So the agenda for today's session is, first we're going to talk about something I'm calling the missing talent market. And I'll explain that term in just a minute. But there is a very significant percentage of the potential job-seeking universe that's not seeing your jobs, that doesn't think about working with staffing firms. And we're going to talk about who those people are and how we find them. We're then going to look at 20 ideas to improve your recruiting, to get more response to your jobs, to get more people to see your jobs, to get more people to apply, to refer, to re-engage the people that you've worked with in the past. And then we're going to wrap things up with a sneak preview of a really amazing new service that our team came up with literally just last week at an initiative we called FedEx Day. And I'll tell you more about FedEx Day and this concept of re-recruiting when we get to the end of today's presentation. As always, if there are questions that pop up as I'm presenting these recruiting ideas, please feel free to use the question chat box to submit, and I will do my best to answer as we go along. If I can't get to anything during our 60 minutes together, I'll stay in the line and answer afterwards. All right, so let's jump in and talk about this concept of the missing talent market. Now, certainly you've heard about hidden talent. You've heard about active versus passive job seekers. But in the staffing industry, there are lots of people that we simply never see. Now, before I tell you who those people are, I want to talk about a couple of trends that you're seeing in the news. So the first thing is about the reality of unemployment. And I'm going to apologize here. What I'm about to talk about is going to sound like I'm on my political soapbox. It's not meant to be on a political soapbox, more from an economist point of view, in terms of what is the reality of unemployment. Now, as of November 2015, the official reported unemployment rate was back down to 5%. Historically, that means full employment. You're down to people who are chronically unemployed or transitional unemployment. Those are the people that they have a hard time finding jobs or that are not actively in the job market. Now, this is referred to as the U3 unemployment rate, but that only measures unemployment as a percentage of the workforce, and it ignores a lot of other people. There's another rate called the U6 unemployment rate, and essentially the U6 rate is equal to the U3 rate plus people who have become discouraged workers that are no longer actively in the workforce, and part-time workers who want full-time employment. The U6 rate is actually 9.8%. And these are a lot of the people who are great candidates for staffing jobs, roughly double the number of people that are officially being reported as being unemployed. Our challenge is, how do we get to them? Second thing I want to talk about is the skills gap. And depending on the niche market you're in, the skills gap may be very real or sort of made up. According to the Wall Street Journal, 40% of employers are having trouble finding people to fill their job openings. But there's been a lot of debate about whether there's really a shortage of talent, or there's a shortage of talent with specific skills, or there's just a reluctance from employers to invest in the training that's needed and raise wages to fair levels to attract the talent they need. And I'd say that it's a little bit of all of the above. You know, we're certainly seeing clients who are in areas in IT, in healthcare, where there's no doubt there is a shortage of people with the credentials needed to do the work. Then there are other areas we're seeing our clients who are in manufacturing where there's just such a reluctance or inability to raise wages that it's hard to attract someone to the jobs. As I said, it's not a political presentation, but we've seen many instances of staffing firms that are struggling to attract talent because it's more advantageous for a lower skilled light industrial worker to remain on public assistance than to take on the job opening that the staffing company has. And as staffing firms, we may not be able to change wages, but we certainly can gather the data to help present to our clients saying, you know, if we can't adjust what we're offering people, there's simply no practical way you're going to entice someone to take a decrease in what they take home every week in order to take on your job. So with that said, we've got a lot of unfilled jobs, but what's the ideal solution? Now, if we could change our clients, the ideal solution would encompass two things. Number one, it would encompass training, and both staffing companies and our clients providing more training to help our candidates develop more of the skills necessary to do the work that needs to get done, and improvements in compensation. But as I sort of alluded to, good luck getting your clients to agree to this. Practical reality is we're not going to convince all of our clients to raise their pay rates or allow us to raise their pay rates. We're not going, you know, many of them are in places where it would simply be uncompetitive. They wouldn't be able to stay in business if they raised their rates to the level it might take to attract people with certain skills. So we're going to have to help people attract the people, put people to work, because this ideal solution, unfortunately, is not really that realistic a solution for most organizations. So that brings up the question, where is the talent? Well, according to the American Staffing Association, 80% of job seekers don't think about using a staffing service. So today, if you're in the staffing industry, you're only seeing about 20% of the people who may be interested in looking for work. And another fascinating statistic from CareerBuilder was that there are 75% of the U.S. workforce that would consider a new job. However, only half those people are actively looking. So what this means is there's a ton of people who are passive job seekers, who aren't actively looking, and who are not thinking about engaging a staffing company. So when we take our job openings and we advertise them on job boards, well, we're only appealing to a very small segment of the total population of people who may be interested in a new job. This is the missing talent market. All of those people who, if they knew what you had to offer, would be interested in speaking with you. All right, so the question becomes, how do we access this missing talent market? And I'm going to say that there's really 4 steps to finding these people and converting these people. So the first thing we have to do is we have to attract people. We have to get their attention, make them understand we exist. Because if 80% of the universe is not working with staffing companies, some of those people don't even know what we do. Others may have misperceptions about what we do. Others may just not be aware of the kinds of jobs we have available. We've got to educate them about staffing jobs, staffing agencies, what we do for a living, and the kinds of people we put to work. We got to deal with those common misperceptions. We've got to create interest in our services and our jobs by being better at how we sell the opportunities. And we got to convert. We got to make it easier for people to respond. We got to make it easier for people to connect with us. We got to make people want to connect with us. So if we can attract, educate, create interest, and convert, we will get more people to fill the job openings we have. So how do we do those 4 things? First off, let's talk about education. We're going to be looking at different ways to educate candidates about the value you can provide. So the first thing is education can be delivered via your company website. If you're not blogging regularly, you really should be, because it's the easiest way to provide content to your candidates. It's also ideal for optimizing your website for search engines. If you're a Haley Marketing client and you have access to our candidate resource centers, those should be well integrated with your site, because you will have 100+ articles to help people in their careers. You want to be making your website a destination for local job seekers to learn about finding a job, improving their skills, how to have better quality of life and a better career, all through your website. You also want to be active, if you can, speaking in your local market or in your industry, whether it's online like I'm doing right now through a webinar, whether it's through a local seminar, maybe a chamber of commerce or a civic group or a professional organization. You might also look at creating your own YouTube channel where you make videos designed to help people understand the value you can deliver, to educate people in your market about the value of staffing services. Now, don't think about it being an ad for your company. It's not a sales pitch, it's education. Why do you work with a staffing company? How do you work with your staffing company? How can a staffing company be a real career partner throughout your time, throughout their careers? And you want to look at social sharing. How do I take all this content on our website, on our YouTube channel, the speaking that I'm doing, and drive people to it? People who may not know about staffing companies, or may have misperceptions. How can I do free content sharing on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn to put my information in front of people that would be interested? How can I expand that sharing with paid reach on social to go after very targeted talent pools? Facebook and LinkedIn give us the ability to really accurately target the kinds of people we want to reach. Now, I'm going to talk more about some specific ideas on how you can do this social sharing later, but as we're going through the presentation, think about education as the key to reaching that 80%, because we've got to get them engaged with the value you can deliver. And it doesn't start with a sales pitch, it starts with content. How do we get more attention to our firms and to the content we provide? This is not the field of dreams. If we build this content, people won't come to it. We have to drive people to it. And this is where a strong online presence is essential. It starts with your website and the social media that I just mentioned. Then you want to think about building your own talent communities or being actively involved in talent communities. So building your own might be a LinkedIn group you have for accountants in your marketplace or specific IT professionals. Or maybe I become active in meetups that focus on people with specific skill sets. I want to be, if I'm a recruiter, if I'm a staffing company owner, I want to be very actively involved with the organizations, the places where the kinds of people I'm going to place hang out. I don't want to be there just pitching my jobs. I want to be an engaged member of the community, learning from others, contributing to the conversations, and being seen as the top expert in anything related to career questions for that group. I also want to use remarketing, which you're going to see more on later, as a way to make sure we stay top of mind with anybody that's visited our website. Maybe top of mind with people who are on our email list or in our database but haven't been to our website. And then I want to think about online reputation management, so that as people are looking for staffing firms, we're the ones that are the highest rated, the most endorsements in our community, because those are the firms that candidates are going to call first. We also want to build a strong network of referral partners. And again, I'm going to talk more about this later as well, but this can be people that provide training, colleges, universities, training centers. It can be professional, social, government, civic organizations where my ideal candidates might be a member, might hang out. It can be an alumni network of your staffing company. You're looking for anybody who can refer talent and building that network so that they're referring people not just to your jobs, but they're referring people to you because of the expertise that you can offer. We also have to get way better at selling our jobs. Now that starts with writing better posts. I'm sorry to say this, but the average job post that we see, and we manage, I think as of last Friday, 39,000 staffing jobs that were managed through Haley Marketing Group. And the majority of them, the descriptions are really bland, really boring, and would do nothing to attract a job seeker or entice someone to leave another company to come work for the company that made that post. Bottom line is, when it comes to job posts, sexy sells, and you've got to give your job some sex appeal. You know, you're not just selling the list of job duties and requirements. You're selling the company. You're selling your company. You're selling your client. You're selling the opportunity to learn new skills, the opportunity for advancement, the opportunity for pay increases. You have to give people a compelling reason to change jobs now. Why should they go from being a passive to an active job seeker? And maybe it's not the specific job I'm writing a post about, but maybe I'm specifically talking about reasons that they should take a look at changing jobs. They should engage with our company because this one job isn't all that we offer. We have to remember, we're selling our company, the staffing organization. When possible, when we've got a marquee client, we also want to leverage that client because that will attract people to us. We also want to sell the great clients we work with and the opportunities that you can provide that the candidates are not going to find anywhere else, and that they need to have a relationship with a firm like yours to get access to those hidden jobs. And then we want to make sure that we're cross-promoting our jobs throughout our website and all of our online marketing. So we're not dependent on somebody being on the job search page. We can have a list of hot jobs on the home page, on the About Us page, on the top of the job seeker page, and the contact page. We can be sharing jobs on social media, and I'm going to show you lots of techniques to do these things as we get later into this presentation. But the idea is that anywhere someone is going, we're on our website or anywhere we have a social presence, we're getting people engaged with individual jobs, with our company, with the opportunity to have our staffing firm as a career partner. We also have to look at ways to make it easier to respond. So I know everyone's heard people say the importance of mobile, but this is where it comes into play. Mobile search, mobile apply, mobile updates. 30 to 50 to even higher percent, depending on your niche market and the city that you're in, a large percentage of the job seekers are on your website on a mobile device. We check Google Analytics on this stuff all the time. The percentage has been consistently growing over the years, and mobile matters. If we can't allow the candidates to search for our jobs on a mobile device, if we can't give them an easy way to apply on a mobile device, we're going to lose as many as half of the people coming to our websites who are interested in job opportunities, and we're going to lose an even larger percentage of people who are just passive job seekers kind of poking around to see if they'll be interested, because if you're not mobile optimized, they're gone. We have to look at providing people with really good job alerts so that we can keep them apprised of jobs that match their interests whenever you get those jobs, and you want to make that completely automated. You want to also shorten the application process. We've said this on past Lunch with Haley's, but we've seen over and over again staffing companies that want to have really detailed applications, because ultimately you're going to need that information. But if the beginning of your application process has a long form and 500 skill codes, you can pretty much be guaranteed nobody's going to apply. In fact, one of our clients found an 85% abandonment rate on their application because it was long. So think shorter. What's the bare minimum information you need when that candidate first contacts you to determine, am I interested in speaking with this candidate further? And lastly, be more responsive to your candidates. The number one complaint they have is that staffing companies don't do enough to communicate with me and follow up. Only about 40% of job applications ever receive a response. And the candidates want to know, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Where am I in the process? So you want to think about, how can I make it as easy as possible for the candidates to know where they stand without being an excessive burden on your recruiters. Some companies have gone so far as to hire candidate concierges whose job is to do follow-up, to provide status updates to candidates so they can improve communication, because they know improved communication leads to a better candidate experience, leads to more referrals, and ultimately a lower cost of recruiting. Okay, we're going to shift gears now, and we're going to take a look at 20 specific recruiting ideas. All right, so let's just start at the top, and the first thing we're going to look at are 9 ideas for active job seekers. So We want to get more response from people who are already out there in the job market looking for work. Tip number one is to improve the response to the jobs that are already on your website. So how can you do that? Well, I could repost the same job with different job titles because the title I'm using might make sense to one candidate. Maybe I'm using the exact title the client uses, but that doesn't make sense to the next candidate. Also, try to write your job titles so that they're engaging. I see so many jobs that are titles like clerk, warehouse. They're not even a description of the job. And if the titles don't stand out on your own website, once those jobs go to a place like Indeed or Simply Hired, they're really not going to stand out, and you're not going to get a response to them. I know it takes extra effort to think of a creative title, but that's one of the most effective ways to drive more response. Make sure you're including key benefits and even locations in your job titles, so when your jobs get pulled into a job aggregator and somebody's only seeing the title, there's some differentiation to your jobs on those aggregator sites. Excuse me one second. Train your recruiters how to write better posts, how to better sell the jobs and opportunities. Give them a template they can follow, how to sell key benefits before they get to the list of duties and requirements. Remember, candidates in an era of declining unemployment, they have choice. And if they have choice, you've got to make your job more appealing than the competitor's job. And you may be writing about the exact same job opening as a competitor, but if your description doesn't sound better than theirs, they're going to get the candidates, not you. If you're using Haley Marketing's job board, take advantage of our new Twitter card feature. If you see that graphic in the lower right corner, that's an example of what you can do with a Twitter card. And what a Twitter card is, it's an image that can be associated with all your jobs. So when you share it on Twitter, and it also works on other social media, every job has a big graphic to draw attention to your post on social media. So the Join Our Team, that's the one we have for Haley Marketing Group, and a lot of our clients are just starting to set these up. If you're using our job board software and you've not heard about this yet, contact our support team and they can tell you more about the Twitter card feature. Also, make sure you've set up your automated job board feature mailing so that when someone opts in to receive job alerts, you can set up automated alerts that go out to your candidates promoting specific types of jobs and encouraging more referrals. That's another feature of our job board, something that costs nothing to turn on. And if you need to know how to use it and you're not currently using it, please just contact our support desk. If the job portal on your current website, if you're not using our job board and you don't have those features, we'd be happy to tell you more. So please give us a call. Our phone number's here. It'll be at the end of the presentation as well, and we can tell you more about how to do things like Twitter cards and feature mailings from your jobs. All right, next up. You want to increase the distribution of your post to other sites. There's a lot of ways to post jobs at little or no cost. One way is using an RSS feed of your job data to send it to social media. So in the bottom right corner, this is a screenshot from the Haley Marketing Group job board backend, which will show you the URL of a job board. I took a picture of ours. So there's the actual URL of our job board. There's the RSS feed URL for our job board and the XML job feed of our job board. So if you're using our job board or if you're using a number of ATSs, they offer RSS feeds of all your jobs. You can then use that feed using an intermediary tool like Twitter feed to take the jobs and automatically share them to Twitter. Or take the jobs for a specific city and share them to a Twitter account for jobs in that city. Or take the jobs for a specific recruiter and have that recruiter's jobs go to status updates on LinkedIn for that individual recruiter. You can set up Twitter accounts for vertical markets, for geographic markets. You can have LinkedIn status updates for individuals in your office, all be automated. We show Facebook on here as well. I wouldn't recommend automating to Facebook. With Facebook, what you want to do is selectively manually post jobs and also to LinkedIn groups because you don't want to overdo job sharing in either of those places. You can't do automated feeds to LinkedIn groups. You could to Facebook, but you don't want to because too many feeds to Facebook or to LinkedIn groups will turn people off and make them not respond to your jobs. You're much better to selectively post your best jobs to bring people back to your website. Or as you'll see later, even post the value of looking at your jobs to the candidate rather than a specific job. And I'll show you more what I mean by that in a few minutes. All right, number 3, get more opt-ins for your job alerts. So you want to make sure that throughout your website, you've got lots of calls to action, driving people to opt in for job alerts. In the bottom left corner, you'll see one of our clients, and when they do blog posts, when they do social sharing, they'll include graphics like the one you see, interested in world-class job opportunities. You click that, and it takes them to somewhere where they can review that company's jobs and sign up for job alerts. Bottom right-hand corner is just a box that anybody using Haley Marketing's job board sees that they can get a personal job agent. But even if you're using our job board, you can include links and calls to action throughout your website to drive people to sign up. So the job seeker section of your website should have that. The About Us page should have that call to action. The contact page should have that call to action. And on your blog page and in individual blog posts, include graphics like you see in the bottom left as calls to action to drive people to take a response, to get your job alert, so that they may not be interested today, but over time you're building hundreds and then thousands and then tens of thousands of people who are interested in the jobs that you have to share. Excuse me. Tip number 4, post the jobs to more local or industry specific job boards and websites. There are a lot of places that draw better than the big boards, and a lot of places you can go for free. So here it's really going to vary based on your industry, your geographic market, the kinds of people you place. On the bottom of the screen, there's a few logos. Craigslist, I know for some of our clients, is their #1 source of candidates, and in a lot of markets, it's free. Some people who are interested in healthcare recruiting, maybe like a site called Staff DNA that's relatively new, that specializes in matching healthcare professionals with healthcare staffing companies. Traded Up is a website, a job board, just for skilled tradespeople, and Hire Veterans is a job board just for people who are looking to hire veterans. Western New York Jobs is my neck of the woods. It's a local job board that's fairly low-cost way to post jobs. Wherever you are, whatever specialty you're in, look for ways to share your jobs. And most of these sites, well, some of these sites will take all your jobs for free with an RSS or an XML feed. Other sites you'll have to manually share the jobs, and some of them you will have to pay for. Like any recruiting tool, when you're using all these other job boards, the key is to look at what you're going to try to do, test it, evaluate the results, what did it cost us, how many candidates did it bring us, what's the cost per candidate, and then deepen your investment in the things that are working and drop the things that aren't. All right, idea number 5. There are a lot of pay-per-click and new pay-per-candidate recruiting solutions that you can try out. If you're not testing pay-per-click on Indeed or Simply Hired, maybe Glassdoor, those are places that you can test setting an advertising budget, and then what happens is they'll feature your jobs on the site, and anytime somebody clicks on your job, you pay a fee for each click. The cost per click can range from $1 to many dollars, depending on the skill discipline and the competitiveness of what you need. But it's a great way to experiment with what's our cost per applicant for different job titles and to focus on trying to get more exposure to certain hard-to-fill positions. The next category is a pay-per-candidate, which is a relatively new service. There's 2 companies that I met at Staffing World this year, Jobs to Careers and CareerCo, that specifically specialize in a cost per candidate model or cost per application model where you only pay for each application that you receive. The next one is a way to boost jobs, and if you're working with ZipRecruiter, they have a feature called ZipRecruiter Boost, which is kind of like a mini online marketing program for your job. They charge, I think, $199 to boost your job, and they do kind of a social media and paid advertising boost to try to drive traffic. Now, that's fairly expensive for one job. They may offer discounts when you buy in bulk. I have never been through their sales pitch, but it can be a great way to try to get more traffic to very specific job posts or higher value, maybe some of your direct placement jobs where you're trying to find candidates faster. You can also look at Google AdWords, trying to do targeted ads to people who are doing searches for specific types of jobs. You can do Facebook advertising. You can boost posts. Again, targeting people in a specific job function, specific geographic location, or even people who are on a specific email list that you've uploaded. And most recently, Google added the ability to upload an email list and target advertising to that list. And the last one I have on this page is LinkedIn. LinkedIn's probably the most expensive way to do pay-per-click advertising. Clicks start at $5 each and go up. However, if I'm doing a recruiting effort for a senior executive or very, very hard to find talent and there's a very high revenue at stake in the placement, I may look at their sponsored update capabilities to try to put my job post in front of an extremely targeted list of people, which I could target by industry segment, by job title, even by the company I want to go after. The only requirement on LinkedIn is there has to be at least 1,000 people that you're targeting or they won't run the ad. Now, with all of these options, you are paying for results. I was talking to somebody today who does healthcare recruiting, and they do this, but they said it can get really expensive because all of this advertising is on autopilot, and you want to make sure with any of this pay-per-click, you're setting a daily and or a monthly limit on your spend. You're testing that result, and then you're determining, do I want to change my spend based on the results? You can start tests with relatively modest budgets, and then from there, continue to expand as you're finding things that work. The caution I give you is if you put a big budget out there without a real good strategy, you'll blow through the money really quickly and have nothing to show for it. If you do need help with pay-per-click options, if you're looking at doing it heavily on Indeed and Simply Hired, ZipRecruiter, they've got great teams that can help explain how to use their services better. If you're looking at AdWords, Facebook, and LinkedIn, we've got great people on our team that can help. If you are marketing to licensed professionals, very often you can purchase lists of these people. So it might be CPAs or nurses. It may be other healthcare financial professionals. And what I would do is here I would look at, can I use direct mail marketing to go after these people where they don't expect to receive my mail at home? Can I recruit right in their homes? So what we're looking to do here is I'm probably not advertising one job, but I'm advertising the opportunities our firm can offer. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you see an example of a postcard campaign targeting pharmacists. And the overall theme was getting the freedom to really enjoy your life because the staffing company could provide better value than you would have working directly for an employer where you have to deal with all the political red tape and headaches that come with being a direct employee of a healthcare organization. So the idea to direct marketing is I might use postcards or greeting cards or personal letters, something that's fairly low cost to mail out, but I'm trying to give people a compelling reason to talk to our staffing company as opposed to advertising a single job. Next thing to do is to take a look at your Google Analytics. What you're trying to do is use analytics to find the leaks in your recruiting funnel. So things you want to look at is what are the entry and exit pages? Entry pages are telling you how do people find your website. Are they finding them through specific jobs, through social media, through your emails? Are they doing searches? Are they coming directly to your homepage on their own? Then you also want to find out where they exit. Are they exiting before they get to your jobs? Are they leaving your site before they get to your application page? Exit pages tell you where the fall off is, so you can try to optimize those pages to get people to take the right next step. You want to review abandonment rates on your job search and job apply pages. If you've got lots of people giving up before they finish it, change the process, change the page, shorten the form, make it easier to apply. You want to see how much of your traffic is mobile. If it's not a big percentage, don't worry about it. If you're seeing 30, 40, 50 or more percent are mobile and you don't have mobile search, mobile apply, mobile job alerts, you better think about making a mobile update to your website. You want to determine the right strategies to optimize your job seeker page, your About Us page, your contact page to get more candidates to convert. And by convert, you're looking at how do we get them to the apply page? How do we get them to complete the contact your firm page? If you're very familiar with Google's analytics, you can set up goals to really track the sales funnel. What happens from the entry page to the exit page? Are they getting to our goal? The goal would be the optimal exit page after completing an action where they contacted you. If you don't know how to do that, again, that's what we do. We can help. Lastly, you want to determine strategies to optimize your candidate experience for mobile job seekers. How do people flow through your website? Where are the fall off points? Where can we encourage people to take next steps? Really look at your blog pages, look at your job seekers page. Where do people go into that page? Where do they leave that page? What you're trying to really map out is the candidates flow through your website, and what can we do to minimize the fall off? And I'm going to apologize. Someone at Haley Marketing Group has logged in with my account, and we're getting a lot of background noise. So please log off. All right, number 8. One idea that we're starting to see some staffing companies do is to look at videos showcasing hot jobs. So rather than a company video or something that's real elaborate, this is kind of a simple video. It may be shot with a webcam or with your phone. It may be an interview with the recruiter explaining the job. It may be an interview of a candidate who worked on assignment or is currently on assignment, or maybe even a mini tour of the facility with an interview of the hiring manager. And what you're trying to do is show off the job itself. Post the video to your company channel on YouTube when you're done to create a whole category of interesting jobs that you can share with people. You can feature those jobs on your company blog so that anyone who's surfing your blog, you may create a channel or a category on your blog just for hot job videos. And then you link those video pages back to your job application form. You can feature the videos in the job alerts to your talent community so that not only do they get to read about the job post, they can see what it's like because they can get more of an interest when they can see what the job is all about. And then you can share the videos on your Facebook company page, or better yet, boost the videos on Facebook to a specific target audience, because videos on Facebook get lots of engagement and you're more likely to drive response when you're sharing a video than just other content. And last thing for the active job seeker is to remember grassroots marketing. This is old school. Sometimes it's the best school. It's local efforts to raise awareness of your firm and the jobs that you can offer. So there are lots of things you can do from old school. It can be flyers that you post in stores or hand out at local community centers. I've seen companies do matchbooks and bar coasters promoting hot jobs. They strategically go to bars that are located around manufacturing and distribution centers because that's where they know those people go after work. They advertise in church bulletins, community newspapers, very low-cost ways to promote their organization. And you see an example on screen now of PSG in Boston, who does a phenomenal job with mass transit and outdoor advertising, focusing on getting candidates to coming to their organization. I've even seen companies, it's Christmas season, you go to the mall, it's filled with kiosks. Well, think about a mall kiosk potentially as a mini recruiting center, because you've got thousands of people walking by, many of whom are passive job seekers, many of whom would never think about staffing. Give them a reason to talk to you. With this grassroots marketing, I want you to think about the fact that it's advertising, but it's not just advertising. Think about community involvement. How do you raise your company's brand by being more active in your community? How do you do it by being more socially responsible? The more you're seen as a strong local corporate citizen, the better it is for your brand, the more people who are going to be interested in what you do for a living and the jobs that you have. All right, let's switch gears now. Those were our active job seekers, trying to drive more people to the jobs we have. Now, let's talk a little bit about those passive job seekers. So with passive job seekers, our 10th idea is using social media and pay-per-click advertising to get in front of more of the right people. So what do we have to do? First thing, we have to think about a compelling brand message about your staffing firm. The tendency when we go to social media is to want to say, hey, I've got a job, let's advertise this job. Well, lots of people are advertising jobs, so your post doesn't stand out. You need a more compelling brand message. So when you think about social, think about the fact when I go to Facebook, I go to LinkedIn, I go to Twitter, I'm seeing dozens or hundreds or thousands of messages all stacked one after another. If your message is going to stand out, what are you going to tell to me if I'm a job seeker? What do you say about the staffing opportunities that you offer in aggregate? Why are they better than somebody else's? What are you going to say about your firm specifically that gives me a reason to want to click a link? It may not even be about jobs. Maybe there's some other reason a passive job seeker needs to take action now. What problem can you solve for them? How can you help them in their career? How can you help them deal with something they may be unhappy about? And you'll see more examples of this later, but if you think about the fact that 75% of people are open to new jobs, but only half those people are looking, how do we appeal to the other half? You have to focus on the value you can deliver as a career partner. So, and then you have to give people compelling reasons to take action. Could be check out our job alerts, or opt in for our job alerts, excuse me, or check out our hot jobs. It could be finding out what you're worth. We'll share local pay information. It could be that your ability to provide access to the hidden job market. It could be a free resume review or a resume template that you're offering. Just think about if your job seeker is out there, they're not currently looking, or they're working with another staffing company. What could you offer to them that would be so engaging that they'd say, yeah, I'll click and find out more about that. Yeah, I'll fill out that response form. Because once you do that, you can get them into your talent network, and then you can promote your job opportunities. And speaking of social, we want to build a bigger following. Bigger is better. The bigger the following, the more people who like, the more people who share your content, the more engagement you create, that breeds more engagement. So some of the things that you can do is look to follow the people who are already following other staffing firms and who are following employers on Twitter. About half the people you follow will then follow you back. Aggressively ask people to follow your firm on your company website and on social sites. I see tons of staffing websites where they'll just have the icons for social media without any direction saying follow us, or out telling people, why should I follow you? What benefit do I get if I follow your firm? Are you just cluttering up my feed, or are you actually giving me something of value? If I'm a job seeker, I'm only going to click the follow button if I know what you're offering me. So you want to make your offers prominent and then repeatedly ask people over and over again the same places you told them about your hot job openings. You want to look at boosting on Facebook to build likes and using affinity targeting to promote your message to the right people. Affinity targeting is when you're going after a group that matches specific demographics or that matches a email list that you upload. Facebook can help you find people who are like your candidates and show your message, the content that you're boosting, to that audience. Now remember, on Facebook, we're usually not there thinking about work. We're there for personal reasons. We're there to share fun stuff with our friends. So make your Facebook shared content engaging, fun, entertaining, not just promotional. I was recently on the website of a major national home health care, excuse me, it was a travel nurse staffing company. And then I went to Facebook and they were doing remarketing, so there I saw their pitch. Well, their pitch was nothing more than a picture of a nurse and the name of their company in the subject line. It didn't make me want to do anything to click on it. It didn't make me want to follow them. It didn't really strengthen their brand with me. Use Facebook as a way to build your brand. So we talked about aggressively asking people to follow you. We talked about boosting your content to the right people on Facebook so that you can bring them to your website, get them to opt in for job alerts, get them to follow you, get them to take advantage of the value you can deliver as a career partner. And lastly is to make sure you're regularly sharing content on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, everyone knows, the network for job seekers. So this is an ideal place to ask people to follow your company in order to get not just job alerts, but in order to get updates that will help them in their careers. So they should get a lot of value. All that content we were talking about earlier that you would write for your blog, all of that content should be incorporated and shared on LinkedIn so anybody who's following you gets all the benefit of your expertise, not just your jobs. And as I'm going to say one more time, what you want to do is don't be shy about giving people a reason to follow you and asking people to follow you because of the benefits you offer to them. This is really content marketing at its finest, because remember, these people we're going after aren't looking for work. We have to teach them how you can be a partner. We have to teach them how you can help them when they are ready to make a move and bring to them job opportunities they might never have found, or even better, bring to them job opportunities so that when they do feel like making a move, you're there to help. All right, next up, idea number 12 is we want to try to increase visibility for individual recruiters to help them build their personal brands. Now, this is a big debate in the staffing industry. Do I want our candidates building their relationships with the individual people in our organization, or do I want them building it with the company as a whole? Now, ideally, it would be both. However, it's easier to get an individual, a job seeker, to build a brand, or excuse me, build a relationship with another person than it is with a brand. So while it is possible to get someone to have a strong relationship with your company, it's much easier to do so with your recruiters. I mean, bottom line is we're in a relationship industry. People build relationships with people. And my opinion is I think it's best when your recruiters have really strong relationships with your candidates. Then you just want to make sure that your company is always the best place to work for your recruiters so they never want to go anywhere else. So what your recruiters can do is you want every one of them to be very active in local talent communities. That can be online by sharing updates in LinkedIn. That can be in person by being active in things like meetups and Chamber of Commerce events and professional societies in your local market. It may be by attending national conferences or regional conferences if you focus on specific types of talent, specific industries. You want your recruiters to be very active networking. They should have giant lists of connections on LinkedIn with all the people that they're connected to in their personal talent community. You want them, if possible, to speak at local events. And if at a minimum you want executives in your firm speaking at local events about career management. You want to be seen as the local experts for advice on how to get ahead in your career. The best thing in the world would be if every job seeker saw you, your organization, as the best resource for advice on how to get a promotion, how to get a pay raise, how to really find a career that you'll be happier with, or how to have better balance in your life. The idea is the more people see you as a career expert and an advisor, the more they're going to want to be affiliated with your organization and work for you and work through you at your clients. You want your recruiters to regularly share content on the social sites that your candidates visit. So this means regular updates, and we have a game plan for 22 minutes a day of sharing on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Automated some of that sharing so that the recruiter has a very active social sharing presence with minimal amount of work every day. But they do spend some time every day building their network, sharing their content, and doing some one-to-one communication outreach with candidates, clients, and people who may be influencer or referral sources. We want every recruiter in the organization to have a really strong social brand so that we attract as many people as possible to the company. Idea number 13 is using remarketing to stay top of mind with people who have visited your website. So remarketing is someone visits your website, the visitor leaves, we put a little cookie on their machine so that when they go to another website, they see your ad, which brings them back to your website. So Google remarketing allows you to show advertising anywhere in Google's ad network at an incredibly low cost, usually 0.2 to 0.5 of a penny per impression. Great way to reinforce your brand, stay top of mind, and it can be used to drive direct response. Facebook, that I've talked about a couple times, their retargeting allows you to show ads within people's timelines for people who have been to your website, and now you can continue to strengthen your brand with them whenever they're on Facebook. At the end of the presentation, before I go to the next slide, I'm going to show you a specific reason why remarketing may be one of your most cost-effective ways to recruit. All right, next we're going to talk about reactivating former candidates and increasing referrals. We're going to do 4 quick ideas there. So first off is we want to actively engage the talent already in your applicant tracking system. And you've heard me mention content, content, content. Well, if you think about engaging people that you've worked with in the past, some of which you placed, some of whom you didn't place, we want to engage them with great content so that they want to continue to stay in touch with you. And if all you're doing is bombarding them with jobs, there'll be times they're interested in that and times they don't want to hear from you, and you're probably going to get a lot of opt-outs to your email communications, a lot of unfollows on social media. We want to make sure that we're sharing information that people find valuable. And unfortunately, that doesn't mean staffing or even career information. It means stuff that makes people feel good, success stories, personal improvement ideas, inspirational messages, even humor. Stuff that makes people feel good is the kind of content they want to see that makes them feel good about your brand. And then from time to time, you're promoting specific jobs or specific value you can provide that's career oriented. You do want to give people compelling reasons to take action and use offers to drive them back to your website. Think about sending emails to former candidates asking for an update on their career. Show interest in them. Share a list of current hot jobs and ask people for referrals. A lot of companies will just do a call blitz. Let's get the recruiters in one night. Let's try to talk to everybody and ask for referrals, get an update on status. We want to make sure that when we're first reaching back out, we're inviting candidates to opt in for those job alerts via email, and if you can deliver it, via text. Idea number 15, we want to contact people we've previously placed, not just everyone in the database, but specifically the people we placed, because those are probably our happiest customers. So we want to find out, hey, what's new? We want an update on their career status. Not that we want to recruit them, but we want to make sure they're happy. And if they're happy, we want to ask them for referrals. And we can ask them for referrals on the candidate side. We might even ask them for referrals on the client side because they might be in a position to hire or to recommend you as a vendor to their organization. But the people you've placed are an ideal source of referrals, and I would probably want to build into the process for every recruiter, set points after a hire that you do a follow-up. So maybe there's an initial one about the job after 2 weeks or 30 days, but maybe there's a referral call after 90 days and another after 6 months and another on their 1-year anniversary. You want to create a system so that you can automate reminding your recruiters when to make all these calls. And if you don't have a marketing automation system, that's one of the ways you could have a little campaign that you build so that every candidate is in that system and every recruiter is reminded when to take appropriate actions without having to worry about scheduling it on their own. Idea number 16, build a network of referral sources. I mentioned this earlier, but there's a lot of people who already know both active and passive job seekers. And it can be people from trade and professional schools, organizations that provide continuing education, the local Department of Labor, church groups, and other organizations that part of their mission is to help people find work. It can be retail stores that sell tools and equipment if you're in skilled trades or light industrial staffing. Even your clients can be a referral source because they see all kinds of people who send in resumes that they don't hire, and they may want to improve their relationship with those candidates by referring them on to their staffing partner who can help them find employment. The key with your referral sources is to make sure you connect with these people, you're regularly nurturing relationships, and from time to time you keep them updated as to the kinds of people you hire, the kinds of talent you need, and the specific job openings that you have. On the candidate side, or excuse me, on the client side, I don't want to understate that. Clients can be phenomenal referral sources, and it actually can deepen your relationship with an existing client by partnering with them to help place the people that they don't hire. Idea number 17 is develop brand champions. And this is an idea that I stole out of the world of consumer goods marketing, where you see consumer products companies all the time. They will hire people to be a champion for their product or service. And maybe somebody handing out drinks at a restaurant, or wearing their shirts, or getting online and blogging about a product or service. You want to have your own brand champions. You want to take your top employees and your top referral sources and invite them to be part of a referral network. You want to provide incentive to these people to refer candidates. It can be monetary incentives, it can be a point system, it can be apparel, it can be goods that you offer them in exchange for what they do for you. They could be cash or non-cash incentives. For existing employees, low cost or no cost branded safety gear or other apparel can be a great incentive. So you're giving it to them for free or at a discount because they're part of your brand champion family. You're encouraging your brand champions to share jobs, to blog about their experience working for you, to share content on social sites, to write reviews. Now, you're not bribing them to write reviews, that's a no-no, but you're encouraging them in every way possible to share their experience, their opinions about your company's brand with their networks, and you're providing incentives to them to say thank you for what they're doing for you. Another thing you can do is you can feed them the content that they need to do their social sharing. So maybe it's articles that your team's written that they can share, or graphics that you've created that they can share and post to social sites to help drive traffic back to you. What you want to do is reward people for the referrals they provide. You want to give them the incentives to get involved in the community, local community or talent community. You want to make sure you're keeping your brand champions keenly aware of what your most prevalent hiring needs are, and you want to make it easy for them to share content. All right, and semi-finally, 3 ideas to improve the candidate experience. So how can we give candidates a better experience? And this is really important because a candidate in today's marketplace can work with any staffing company. And we want the experience of working with your organization to be better than any other organization could use. That's how you'll get more referrals. So step number 1 is benchmark your experience against other staffing firms. What you want to do is look at every touch point you have with candidates and ask yourself, how could we make it better? Every one of those touch points you see on the screen is a moment of truth. And are you better, worse, or about the same as your competition? Brainstorm with your team. How could we make the touch point a little bit easier, a little bit faster, a little bit more enjoyable for the candidate? How could we make the service experience more memorable? The idea is to make a process out of your service experience that is repeatable, consistent, and the best in your marketplace, the best in your industry. If you do nothing else, strive to be the absolute best at communication. It's the #1 complaint candidates have, and if you can be better at communication than anybody else, you're going to have an advantage in attracting talent. Second thing I recommend is demonstrate caring. If you can show candidates you care about them, genuinely care about their best interests, you're going to differentiate yourself from most of the other staffing firms that you compete against. Another idea is to take advantage of a tool we have called the Talent Showcase. And what we created the Talent Showcase for was so that clients of ours could skill market top candidates. But we are finding the Talent Showcase is a really good recruiting tool. So what companies do is they develop profiles of their top candidates and they market them through their website. What this does is it shows not only the employer the types of talent that you have, but it shows other candidates the kind of people you work with. Then when they're talking to candidates, they will use the Talent Showcase to recruit. They'll show that local job seekers that, when you're looking for work, we do more than others to help you get the job you want. And they're using the Talent Showcase to skill market those available candidates to employers. So it is both a business development tool and a recruiting tool rolled in to one very low cost addition to your website. And finally, I mentioned this a couple of times, but I want to reiterate it. You need to think about messaging that promotes the value of working with a staffing firm, and specifically your staffing firm. The purpose of today's webinar was to get you thinking about how to engage with the 80% of job seekers that don't work with staffing firms and the 50% of people interested in a new job who are passive job seekers. We don't get those people through traditional recruitment advertising. We have to think of ways to inspire these people, to make them excited about the value you can deliver, to get them to see staffing companies differently than they see them today. And that's the brand message that you need to create for your organization. There's tons of value that you could deliver and lots of different messages for different vertical markets. It may be as simple as access to jobs if you're in an industry where it's hard to find work, but maybe it's access to the top paying jobs. Maybe it's a way to have someone proactively helping you manage and boost your career. Maybe it's better finding a career, a schedule that fits your lifestyle. And I'm not going to read all of these to you, but you can see there are lots of different potential value propositions that you can deliver to the candidate. Your messaging, your experience, your recruitment advertising, your working with referral sources is about living this messaging in all of your marketing activities. You want to make your firm a champion for workers in your local community and your industry. You want to develop messaging that you can use on your website, in your social media, in your email, during your sales calls, in your recruiting calls, throughout all of your marketing to build an incredibly deep, robust, engaged talent pool who will not only fill the jobs you have, but help refer others to the jobs that you have. All right, and I promised one last idea, and I mentioned something that we did last week called FedEx Day. Really cool project. We took everybody. If you tried to call us last week and didn't get a response from 1 p.m. Thursday until 4 o'clock Friday, I apologize. But we took our whole team offline and we did this project called FedEx Day. And what FedEx Day was is everyone had 24 hours overnight delivery, hence the FedEx, from which to come up with an idea to improve our organization. One of our teams came up with a concept for recruiting they called re-recruiting. Absolutely phenomenal insights. So what they did is they analyzed 400 staffing and recruiting firm job boards and started to look for trends. And here's what they found. Returning visitors, people who come back to your website, are 2 times as likely to apply to your jobs. Now, our industry spends millions of dollars to attract new candidates to job posts. That's why we do so many job posts on the major job boards. But what if we put a tiny portion of that money into re-recruiting candidates who had been to our own websites? Well, those candidates are going to cost less to bring back than we paid to the job board and be more likely to apply to a job. And that's what re-recruiting is all about. So the way the service was designed is our team put this together in literally in one day to put together this whole concept is first you get people, candidates to come to your website. They may visit your job seekers page. They may visit your job board. And then what we do with those people is we put a cookie on their machine so we know they've been there. Now, when those people go to Facebook, we can develop compelling brand messages, not sales pitches for jobs, but compelling brand messages that give them a reason to want to come back to your website. Some of them are just irreverent graphics with humor. Some of them are fun sort of sales pitches about the value of staffing. Some of them are about the value of the jobs that you have. But when we go to Facebook, what we're trying to do is get them back to your jobs. We can also do the same promotion on Instagram. Now, if you just organically share on Instagram, you can't include links with your pictures, but what we're doing with this service is paid reach on Instagram, where now with the sponsored promotions, we can put the ads only in front of people who have been to your website, but as they're on Instagram, they're seeing these same kinds of fun messages, bring them back to your website. We can also begin to follow people on Google. So as they're going to anywhere in Google's ad network, we're using remarketing, so they're seeing your advertising. We're using Google text advertising to follow them around as they're doing searches. So everywhere your candidates are going, we now can re-recruit them, bring them back to your website, and we know as soon as they come back, they are twice as likely to apply for a job, and we are fairly certain, now this is a new service, so we are looking for some beta clients if anyone is interested. We're fairly certain we're going to find a far lower cost per applicant because we're re-engaging people who already know you, already are positively predisposed to visit with your organization, and now we're bringing them back and they're really going to be engaged with the jobs. So if anyone on today's call is interested in knowing more about the concept of re-recruiting and exactly how it works, please give us a call. We'd love to tell you more. And with that stated, we are at the point of Q&A. So let me see if there are any questions coming in. I'll be happy to continue to answer them. And I also want to extend my apologies for the sudden termination of the call in the middle. We will put together a complete recording, so if anybody wants to hear it without interruption start to finish, it'll be available on our website next week. And while I'm waiting for any questions, if anything comes in, please feel free to use the question window. If not, I want to thank everyone for being part of this Lunch with Haley. And coming up in just a few weeks after the new year, we have a really fun session that is going to be innovative ideas for 2016. We had every single person on our team share their best insights for sales, marketing, and recruiting, and that will be presented on Thursday, January the 14th. And from all of us at Haley Marketing Group, I want to wish you Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a terrific New Year, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next Lunch with Haley.